Who is Mr. Pedro Clisante? In this video, let's find out who was the man, Mr. Pedro Clisante, and why is the Main Street of Sosua named after him.
Yeah. Welcome to Compai's Expat channel. Everything expat.
To be able to understand why the Main Street of Sosua is named after Mr. Pedro Clisante, you got to know a little bit of the history of the Dominican Republic. Coming out of World War II, the United States put a dictator in power, and he was called Trujillo. And if you like reading, this is a great book to read. I've read it more than once. This is called The Dictator Next Door, and it talks about Trujillo. Actually, I stand corrected. His regime lasted from 1930 to 1961. So this talks about him. So who was he? Well, he ran with an iron fist. He was a dictator. And towards the end of his reign, there was a movement against him. And a lot of that hotbed of that movement came from the North Coast. A lot of people don't understand that Pedro Clisante, Dr. Alejo Martinez, General Imbert, who Playa Imbert is named after. And if you ask me where is Playa Imbert, well, if you've ever been to Hispaniola Beach, Infinity Blue, that beautiful beach, that's named after General Imbert. And so the north coast of the Dominican Republic was a hotbed of resentment for Trujillo. Mr. Pedro Clisante was from Puerto Plata, but he worked in Sosua. He worked for Mr. Guzman, who has an engineering firm, and what the engineering firm built was mostly roads. So the day before Mr. Pedro Clisante was murdered, he took part in a protest in Puerto Plata against the dictator, and they knew who he was. So as he was on his way to work, he went through a checkpoint here in Sosua, and then that's where the military basically killed him. Unfortunately, they killed him, and they also killed Dr. Alejo Martinez the same day. I've done a lot of research, and I can find very, very little about Pedro Clisante. I know from what I've read, they said he was a man of intrepid character. That was a quote from his fellow politicians who served with him. Had a daughter named Olga. They said he doted over his daughter, loved his daughter. They said he was a man of very strong principles. He loved his country, and he wanted his country to be a more freer democracy, a more stronger country, more financially stronger. So he was basically, a freedom fighter. Supported democracy, wanted to get rid of the dictatorship, and in the end, it cost him and other people that day their lives. So when you're downtown Pedro Clisante, you look up, you see the name, was a good man, fought for his country, and ended up dying for his country. So bear that in mind. Guys, hit the subscribe button, please like, peace out.